All right. A couple of years ago, I was teaching economic classes in front of kids, and if you told me I'd have to follow these two characters in about a year, I'd fall over and faint from nerves. And so it's an honor to be with you all. Thank you for your remarks. The picture up there, I'm kind of coming up batting third. We just heard from Madison and then Jefferson, right? Some eloquent people. I think I'm going to be Patrick Henry. I'm just going to yell at you. So just relax a little bit, right? Inhale, have a little fun. And I came over here, I was just going to make one point, and Mike Lee got to the point. The Article 1 project, he said, is an effort to regain the trust of the American people, right? And so that, for me, is kind of the key. And at its core, we have the architects, and Mark will fill you in on the details of what's coming up on the project itself. But at base right now, I think we all know the problem in the country is the politics, right? How are we going to do this? And so Mike's right. We have to have a regulatory budget for the executive overreach, right? We all know it's out of control. It's $2 trillion a year. But it just runs in parallel with the issues I've been dealing. I'm on the budget committee, and it's the same exact issue, right? There are some areas where we still retain the power of the purse, right? And so this just reemphasizes what Senator Lee was saying. We've done this to ourselves. Right, this year, do we have the constitutional power to set a lower top line federal budget number that we move forward with? Yes. Do we have the power to defund if we really fight tooth and nail on executive overreach? Yes, right? And so I could go down the list. We're not doing that. I'll give you a couple of highlights from what I've been dealing with. Yesterday, we had the governor from Virginia up. No comment on that story. Wait for the evidence to come in on all that. But very interesting story again. And we had all the secretaries from Virginia with our governor. And we got into it on the EPA for some reason. That was the one that got our attention. And so Morgan Griffith and the governor and the secretaries got into it just for a little bit on the issue. And it was forced on us by EPA in Virginia. And Virginia fought back and said, we want you to come down here and tell us you're forcing this on us. So that was at least clever, right? So there are ways we can make the political process work in our favor. We had the EPA come down to Virginia and admit in public that they were forcing this agenda on us. And just to give you an idea of the scale, this is what's missing, right, on the regulatory overreach. The EPA project is $20 billion. $20 billion, now up here, sorry, I can see you all rolling your eyes. It's like, whoop-de-doo, what's $20 billion up here, right? That's the general fund in the Virginia budget for a year, right? That's our budget for a year. So we're talking about an EPA program, $20 billion with the Bay, which is important, clean water, but we're broke, right? And so there's no balancing act going across all these agencies. And then right next off come the Secretary of Transportation, we need more money. Secretary of Education, we need more money, et cetera. Last week in committee, I was the only no vote in the Education Committee on the nutrition bill. And what's the headline there? Next day, Dave Brat against food for kids or something, right? Dave Brat against nutrition for kids. So I tried to be politically smart. We block granted the same amount of money, right? So it's not about nutrition and food. Same amount of money back down to the states, right? But just to get the federal intrusion out. And in that debate at the federal level, we were, honest to God, debating what should be in the salad bar at the local school level with Congress last week, right? So I told the chair and some of the leaders, I said, I'm putting in an amendment. I'm so fed up with it. I said, I cannot have Roma tomatoes on the salad bar anymore. I'm putting them in, right? Just as an example, right? This is what your Congress is doing. So there's overreach, and then and we're doing this, right? Just so we're all clear on this. And then the chairman before the meeting got us all in there and he's budget, Klein from Minnesota, great guy, right? Big 6'5" Marine, scares the crap out of me. Curbelo, and if I do this for Curbelo, then I can't do this for Grothman from Wisconsin, and good God, Brat won't work on anything with us. He's just incorrigible or whatever, right? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm going, oh God, I said, Mr. Chair, I just have to say, I said, if we follow this logic, the reason I'm a no on this is if we follow this logic, next year in this committee on education, we're going to be talking about bathrooms in this committee. Within an hour, I said that in humor. The Democrats brought that up in committee, right, on the nutrition bill, right? So once you allow federal overreach to a certain degree, $4 trillion a year, it's game over, right? If you allow the feds to intrude, then you have the debate going on every single issue, and it clogs the arteries. So I'll just close. I think I was only supposed to go a couple minutes. Jefferson and Madison laid out the main arguments. I'll just follow Jeb. This issue is going to force itself on us, even if we don't get it right ahead of time. In 10 years, all federal revenues are going to go only to mandatory spending programs. I think everybody knows that, right? That's the main graph on CBO. In 10 years, all federal revenues will go to only mandatory spending, right? Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid, health care, et cetera. So if you follow that, there won't be a dollar left for the military, transportation, education, everything we're debating, right? Not a dollar left of federal revenues. And so just by coincidence, guess what the deficit is in 10 years? A little over $1 trillion. So you'll have to deficit finance the entire budget of the United States, right? The functioning, running government piece, right? The discretionary part right now. You'll have to deficit finance the entire federal government. So the numbers are going to force us to do the right thing. I'm just trying to put it to the people that way, because in the end, it comes back to what they laid out. We have to change the mindset of the people. So you got to first share the facts with the people. And what that means is I see nice young people nodding your heads. Thank you for the nice smiles. That's nice of you. Makes me feel better up here, right? If we don't get it right, in 18 years, Medicare and Social Security are insolvent, right? So you guys will be 36 years old, right? So when they're 36, the major programs in the country are insolvent. I don't think we want that. And so I applaud the architects here for putting together this day and for you guys hosting us here. And thanks for letting me say a few words. And with that, I'll give you my colleague, Mark Walker, a fine gentleman from the Carolinas.